The Excel file and the PowerPoint slides used for this lecture are available on my homepage under the CSE 2111 link, and they're also available on Carmen and Canvas, which is the learning management system used by OSU. Please follow along with the PowerPoint slides as I talk about each subject. There are three types of cell referencing used when writing formulas in Excel: relative cell referencing, mixed cell referencing, and absolute cell referencing. Relative cell addressing is the most common type. If you look in cell C2, I have the formula equals B2 minus A2. If I copy it down to C3, the number changes. So now the formula is equal B3 minus A3. If I copy it down again, the formula is equal B4 minus A4. So here's my original formula. Every time I copy it down, it adds one to the number of the original formula. Absolute cell referencing keeps the column and the row reference in the formula the same when copying the formula. It's signified by a $ in front of the column and the row reference. So here I have the value 20 in cell B1. I want to add that value to the 10, put the sum here in C3. I want to add that same value 20 to 70 and put that value in D3. Okay, so I have B1 plus A3. When I copy this formula over, it changes it to C1 plus B3. Is that what I want? I do not want that. What I want is B1 plus B3. I go back to the original formula. I insert a $ in front of the B and hit the Enter key. Now when I copy the formula over, the formula is $B1 plus B3. That's what I want. Let's go back to the original formula. Copy C3, I copy it down to C4. It changes the formula to equals $B2 plus A4. Is that what I want? No. So let's go back. And now let's put a $ in front of the B and a $ in front of the 1. When I copy this formula over, the letter won't change because I have a $ in front of it. When I copy this cell down, or the formula down, the 1 won't change because I have a $ in front of it. So let's copy it over and down. I copy it over. Now when I copy it over and I'm copying a group of cells, I want to highlight it, copy it over, come down here, and then copy it down. Another example. In cell C2, I have the value 5%. In cell B6, I have the value $500, which is the round-trip airfare to Miami. In cell C6, I have the value or the cost of the lodging for Miami. In cell B7, I have the amount for Los Angeles, and the amount for Phoenix is in B8. Now what I'd like to do is write a formula in cell D6 to calculate the price with the service charge. To calculate the round-trip airfare with the service charge, we would type in equals the round-trip airfare times the 5% plus the airfare. I can copy this over, and I can copy this down and get the correct answer. But what if the service charge changes to 8%? In my formula, I have 5% in here. I've put a value in as my formula. That is called hard coding a value. You try to stay away from hard coding a value because it can cause issues with your spreadsheet. Because if I had to change that 5% in 100 different formulas, I would have to find those formulas to do so. However, if I take out this and put in the cell reference, now all I have to do is change C2 and the correct formula, or we will get the correct formula, or we will have the correct formula. All right, so here we have another issue though, because when we copy this over, it will change the cell references to C6 times D2 plus C6. Well, we don't want this C to change when we copy the formula. So we need to go back over here and put in a $sign. When we copy this formula down, it changes the cell reference to $sign C3. Well, we still want that service charge the same, so we'll change this with a $sign. It'll keep that service charge. Now we can copy it over, and we can copy it down, and we will get the correct answers. You can name a cell and use it as a cell reference in a function or a formula. In cell C2, I have the service charge. I'm going to go to the name box and name that cell service charge. Now when you write a formula, you can use the cell reference or you can use the name you've given the cell. Here, I'm using the cell reference C2. I can use that, and I can also use the word or the name I've given the cell. If you use a name, it is considered an absolute cell reference. Mixed cell referencing keeps the column reference or the row reference in the formula the same when copying the formula, depending on if you put the $sign in front of the letter or the $sign in front of the number. In this example, we want to write a formula in cell B2 that adds the contents of B1 and B2 and gives us the answer. When we copy this formula over to C2, we want to add the contents of C1 to the contents of A2. Likewise, if we copy this formula down, we want the solution to 20 plus 50. Let's write our base formula. Equals B1 plus A2. Now, when I copy this formula over, the formula should be C1 plus A2. That is not what I get. So I have to come over back to here and put a $sign in front of the A. Now when I copy it over, I'll get the correct formula. Let's copy it down. When I copy it down, my formula reads B2 plus A3. Is that what I want? No. So let's go back up here. Let's put a $sign in front of the 1. And now let's copy it all over. This is an example of mixed cell referencing. In this case, I have a $sign in front of the 1, but not a $sign in front of the B. I also have a $sign in front of the A, but not a $sign in front of the 2. So mixed cell referencing is when you only have one $sign in your formula. Another example. Let's say I have to travel to the Newark campus and the Marion campus, and I get reimbursed $125 for Newark for every trip and $175 for Marion. Here I've recorded the number of trips I've taken for January, February, and March. So let's do the base formula. Equals Newark times the number of trips, and there's my answer. Now, when I copy this formula over, I want to get the number of trips times the cost for Marion, which is E4 times C8. That formula is correct, so I don't need any dollar signs in front of the letter. Let's copy the formula down. Now I have D5 here times B9. Well, the B9 is correct, but the D5, I need it to stay at a D4. So I'm going to put a dollar sign in front of the 4, which will anchor the 4. Copy this over. And copy this down. So a mixed cell address, the dollar sign is either in front of the D or the dollar sign is in front of the 4.